Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'll ask everyone to mute themselves.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning. Good afternoon. Sorry, we're in Germany and we have afternoon.
Good day, good day.
Hello.
We still have people joining, so let's give it a few more minutes. We're still having people coming in into the lobby, and we're adding them. But in the meantime, two things. Please mute yourself, and secondly, please rename your Zoom name to edit your company name. So when the time comes for Q&A to happen, we will be calling out everyone's names and their company's name, so they know when we're addressing their questions in particular. So please do that as well to help us out. Let's give it one more minute and then we'll start, and I'll ask one of our partners to keep admitting everyone as their co-hosts.
Battery 100%. Connected to your VLX.
All right. As we're tight on schedule, I think it's all right if we start. So, hi everyone. My name is Alexander, and I'm from F6S. I'm project manager, and I have most probably been in contact with you one way or another, promoting the webinar, inviting you to join. So, welcome. I'll be the moderator today, and I'm here to introduce you to what's coming up next. So. We have a couple of things interesting for you. To start off, we'll be joining with us the coordinator, Juan, from CEA, who will give you an overview of the project. After that, we'll have Luz from Zabala, who will give you an overview of the application process and the open call, what is expected. After that, we'll have two data providers. So VRT, Joris from VRT, and Danielle, and sorry, first Danielle will be presenting and then Joris. After that, we'll have a Q&A session. So where everyone will be able to post their questions in the chat, and we'll be reading them. So feel free to post your questions throughout the webinar, and we'll be reading them at the end. As I said, this video will be recorded, and please mute yourselves. Please post your questions in the chat, and please change your Zoom name to add it to add your company name as well, so we know who's addressing and who to address when reading out the questions. So as I said, welcome everyone. We hope to close this meeting in 1.5 hours. If there are any questions that are still pending, we'll ask you to refer them to an email, which we'll later tell you, as we want to be efficient and we don't want this to take forever, but actually give everyone a chance to talk as well. So let's kick start. I welcome Juan to give an overview of Reach and to introduce himself. and to kick started off. Thank you, Juan, for joining, and please be mindful of the agenda.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juan Cadavid. I am European Affairs Manager at CA List, public RTO here in France, and I am the coordinator of the REACH project. I'm just going to share my screen. Can please someone tell me if you see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Just 1 second, just trying to put it on full screen mode. Okay, so welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all here. It is great to see this overwhelming interest we are receiving from REACH. So today I'm going to welcome you here to tell you what's the story behind REACH, a little bit of general information, and then we're going to deep right into the practical information on how to take advantage of this opportunity. So the story of the REACH Incubator is what we call the data economy, is to unlock the data economy. The data economy is still a promise that it's still not fulfilled because there is still the lack of sharing data among organizations and across value chains. The Commission financed the REACH project because they would like to finance experiments, particularly from SMEs and startups, to create data value chains across different sectors, where several organizations cooperate and exchange data to create value for all and to create win-win situations. However, we all know that this raises significant questions, both technical, organizational, legal. So what about data security, data ownership, data sovereignty, etc.? So we need experiments to test all the different technologies that we can use for this. And of course, we need experiments that can turn into business. This is the speech of the discourse of innovation that we all know. So what is a data value chain? So REACH is going to finance data value chain experiments. So a data value chain is a multi-stakeholder data workflow where by applying data analytics, both data and solution providers reciprocally benefit through joint exploitation models. So like I said before, it's about cooperating, exchanging data, working on that data. So yeah, performing data analytics and so on, so we can create value from it. I'm a very examples-based guy, so I'm going to dive right into an example, and we're going to look at the electronic systems industry. And this is one of the value chains that we can find in this industry, the production of embedded systems. So you know that we can find embedded systems everywhere. So here is just one example in vehicles. And now that we are going towards the autonomous vehicle, we are having more and more complex autonomous systems. And these are the end users in this workflow, the people who use these embedded systems. But then there are the manufacturers of these embedded systems, including the hardware part. There's also the designers. This is the most, let's say, critical part in this chain, because this is where we optimize the design of these embedded systems to meet features, performance, demands, etc. But also very important in this particular value chain are the tool developers. So basically, the designers rely on tool developers to create more performance systems. Now, the interest of a data value chain here in this particular domain is the fact that today, and the current status quo, these users are working in silos, in data silos. Each one, they have their own data, and they are very jealous of this data. They don't share this data. For instance, with end users, there is the problem that there might be a personal data involved that we cannot share. Manufacturers, they cannot share all the time the data of their production. The same, of course, designers, they have the intellectual property of their designs. And tool developers, they would like to benefit from data from all this value chain to optimize their tool development, but they cannot do it. So the idea is to experiment with technologies such as value chain, data anonymization, so we can create a data value chain. So that's one example. So how is REACH Incubator going to help you work on experiments to fulfill these promises? So first, REACH is a multi-stakeholder ecosystem. So we have within the ecosystem that exists already today, we have data providers who provide a data catalog with challenges. We have the startups, and that's you, who we are going to welcome in our open call. We have investors, and we have digital innovation hubs. We're going to see later what they do in the project. We have 3.5 million euros that we're going to distribute over through 3 open calls. And we are going to welcome 100 data-driven SMEs and startups. So in each one of these 3 rounds. And each one of these 3 rounds is going to last for 11 months, where in these 11 months, the SMEs are going to perform an experiment. And they have access also to a catalog of, like I said before, 9 data providers in different sectors, as that we're going to see later. So these are the benefits that you get. First of all, there is the money. So you can finance innovation in data value chains. You have access to this catalog of data sets from large corporations and public authorities that we'll see later. You have the REACH toolbox because we have the digital innovation hubs in the REACH consortium that are going to provide you with skills and technologies to develop these experiments. And technologies including blockchain-based systems, anonymization, and some others. You are going to have access to private investments. So our incubation process is going to allow you to get visibility from private investors, so venture capitalists and business angels at the later stages of our incubation process. You have the digital and business skills. The digital innovation hubs, they also provide you with data infrastructure should you need it to perform your experiments. And last but not least, we provide you with a lot of visibility as in every European project. So this is the REACH consortium. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to present everyone. So CA is the coordinator, University of Deusto is the co-coordinator and main manager of the incubation program. And then we have all these other partners that you will see and that you are going to work with if you are selected in our program. So there are 3 different modes of participation, and I'm going to go very briefly on them because Luz is going to go over it in more detail. But just to say that we have 3 different tracks through which you can apply. So the first one is theme-driven. Basically, you have themes in different sectors. So the example that I shown earlier about the electronic systems industry actually corresponds to one of the themes that we have in our catalog, which is the manufacturing and industry. But just like I've shown this scenario, there are other scenarios in healthcare, in tourism, in retail, in energy that can inspire you to perform experiments. And several of these themes, they already include stakeholders from other sectors. Then we have the track 2, in which we have this catalog of large corporations and public authorities already providing data sets and challenges that you can consult. These are publicly available today in our website. You can consult our catalog and see the challenges that we provide. And if you are interested in something in one of these challenges, you can apply under this track. And then we have track 3, which is a free choice, in which basically you can provide your own data sets and you can propose your own experimentation, but with particular conditions that Luz is going to explain later. So this is our incubation process. If you are selected, we have a committee of external evaluators. You are going to enter the incubation process, which is composed of 4 phases, which are the 4 E's: explore, experiment, evolve, and expose. And in fact, the funding that you get depends on how far you go into the process. So as you see, the first phase is going to welcome 30 teams. Here, we're talking about the first round. Then the second one is going to welcome 10 teams. And of course, for each phase, you're going to get funding depending on the phase that you get to. Then just to finish my presentation, because I have to give the floor to Luz now. So really the final aim is to demonstrate that data silos can be broken. Like I've shown before in my example, by providing multi-stakeholder cross-sectoral incubator experiments to boost data field sustainable solutions. And that's it for the main presentation of REACH. So now I'm going to give the floor to Luz, who's going to tell you how specifically REACH works and how to apply to our opportunity. Thank you very much.
All right. Now it's time for Luz.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you, Alec, Juan. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this second info webinar about the REACH call for applicants. I am Luz Esparza from Tabal Innovation Consultant, and I am the call manager in the REACH project. Well, I won't be all the presentation with the video, just to let you focus on the presentation. Okay. So, well, the main topics that we will be discussing about today are the following. We will be talking about the submission of the proposal, about eligibility, and we will be also talking about the evaluation and the results communication. We'll go through each of the stages. So, as Juan presented, there is if the small and medium enterprises or startups are selected, they start our incubation round, which is composed by 4 stages: explore, experiment, evolve, and expose. Now we are in the first, the submission stage. We are here. And this is the first and very important step. In this point, it's very important to read the guidelines and for applicants, as well as the frequently asked questions. Please do it, because all the information about the call, the ways to apply, different type of projects, etc., is described here. Of course, we have a mailbox where you can also post us questions, and we will answer them. And we will be having also today a frequently asked, a questions and answer section. Once you have after reading the guidelines and the frequently asked questions, you will have to select one of the 3 available ways to participate. As Juan said, we have 10 driven, where the REACH consortium has collaborated with 3 data innovation hubs, which are part of the consortium, to define cross-sectorial data value chains that you will need to apply to be tackled. Then we have the ready-made, which is track 2, where applications will tackle with the challenges which defined by the REACH data providers according to the needs detected in their market. And then the last track, it is track 3, it's free choice. And here we have a single small and medium enterprise or startup, which applies together with their own data provider or data providers, at least one. And they together propose a novel data value chain and a joint challenge to be solved. In case the selected track is the first one, theme-driven, it's important to choose the theme, the data value chain theme, and a challenge within its theme. All the themes and challenges are available in the following link here. And in this track, you will be, there are 2 main points that need to be highlighted. On the one hand, we have REACH datasets. So you are encouraged to use datasets provided by REACH data providers and which are available in the REACH data catalog. But it's also possible to use datasets that you are bringing. It could be your own datasets from a data provider you are bringing, or even open data. It's not always necessary to have a combination of datasets to demonstrate a data value chain in the experimentation, but it's good if you can. And another important thing here in this track is that 50% of the applicants selected under this category will be using datasets from the REACH data catalog. We want to boost the use of datasets from our data providers too. if the selected track is ready-made, in this case, what do I have to do? Well, the first thing you need to do is to select a challenge from the rich catalog. They are available also here in this link, and they are identified as ready-made. As you will see, these challenges are role specific. They have been defined by data providers and rich consortium according to the needs they have detected in the market. And so it's very important you don't go out of the challenges. If you have specific doubts, you will always have the opportunity to share your doubts with us, and we will forward them to the data providers and answer you through our mailbox. Well, also the use of datasets from different sectors or fields to create cross-sector data value chains is encouraged. In particular, you're encouraged to combine the datasets available in our catalog with those from other sectors, for example, open data. In this case, 20% of the selected experiments under this participation track will be cross-sector. You will be having access to full data sets only if you are progressing through the incubation and you progress to experiment. At this stage, you will be having access to sample data. It's very important. And the third option, it's the most open one. It's free choice. It's track 3. And here, it's you who will be devising new novel data value chains by bringing your own data provider or data providers and your own data sets. And you will have the opportunity to combine them with those facilitated by our catalog. So you will be applying together with the data provider, at least one, and you will be proposing a joint challenge to be solved. It's important that the data provider has to provide its own data. So applicants are encouraged to combine data sets from different sectors. Those combined by the data provider you are bringing to a project, those available within our rich catalog, or even external data sets to our catalog, for example, open data. But it's very important that you have the access and the rights to deal with them data in compliance with the data protection regulation. And you will also have to have the legal permission to include them in a commercial solution. At least 10% of the selected experiments under this participation track will be cross-sector. Important. What happens if I bring my own data provider? This can happen in track 1 and 3, as we said before. So it's very important and critical for the evaluation that in those cases that you are bringing your own data provider, you fulfill some main topics. First thing is to register the data provider in the application form. There is a specific form to be completed by data providers. And then make sure that the data provider knows what they will be requested and needed, what's going to be needed from their side afterwards. In particular, they're going to be requested to sign a memorandum of understanding, probably in February, where they commit to participate in the project. And then they will also need to participate in some project meetings, events along the incubation, where they will have the opportunity to evaluate the progress of the companies they are supporting and who have applied to their challenges. In this table, we have some considerations regarding the proposals that will be selected. This is more or less what we said before. We have 3 participation tracks. The first one, maximum 40% of the proposals will be funded. In the second one, 42%. And for the free choice, we'll be having 20% of the proposals. So how to apply? The first thing, once you have your idea clear, the track identified, and you have carefully read all the documents available, guidelines, frequently asked questions, you can start with the submission. It has to be done through the FCSX platform, and you will need to complete some information there. And very important, the application must be submitted before next 15th February noon. It's not midnight, okay? It's noon. So to prepare the proposal, what's this about? There are 3 main points. We have the online form through FCSS, which it is solved. Here you have the link, and we have added some new questions lately They are mainly for analytic purposes, but they are related to the data sets you are using from the data catalog and the challenges. They are included in the proposal and the form, sorry, and so if you complete the form carefully and reading all the instructions, that's no problem with that. So it's necessary to register in the FCX platform if you have not done it yet, and go through the different sections, which are the section 1, which is talent, section 2, which is technical approach and proposed use case. The third section, you will be talking about your business, market, growth strategy. There is an Excel document that needs to be uploaded here. This document is mandatory. It's you cannot upload here any document you want to regarding your company, your sales, your figures. You have to stick to this document and upload this document. Okay, it's very important. If you keep this section empty, we won't be able to evaluate you. If you provide us with a different document, this is not the information we're requesting to. So please stick to the document we are asking for. Then in section 4, you will be talking about your team. And then there is a section for some administrative staff regarding the company. The second document is a declaration of honor. It's completed by a click in the online form. And here, basically, you are saying you fulfill the criteria and you declare yourself as a small and medium enterprise. And the third section, which is only applicable when you are bringing your own data provider. Remember, this can happen in track 1 or track 3. It's mandatory to complete the data provider description form. About eligibility. So am I eligible to participate in the project? Eligibility means that you can be legally selected to be part of the incubation program. Remember, we are dealing with a public, with European funding, so we need to be very strict and comply with some rules. So even if your proposal is great, but if you don't comply with the eligibility criteria, we won't be able to fund you. So it's very important you make sure that you comply with all the criteria. We will go now over them, okay? So first thing, the official language. It's English. No other language would be considered for evaluation. We are only funding small and medium enterprises, not large companies, not group of individuals, etc. This project is only for small and medium enterprises. There are a list of eligible countries, which are the member states of the European Union, overseas countries and territories, and Horizon 2020 associated countries, and applicants from the UK. In future calls, we might expand this list because we have received some queries from people, for example, from Kosovo, who wanted to know if they were eligible. Unfortunately, for this first call, they are not. We will analyze it for the following ones, but please remember which are verify that you belong to a country which is that you are eligible in, because you are legally registered in that eligible country. No multiple submissions are allowed. So only one proposal per applicant will be evaluated. In case you submit several proposals, only the last one will enter into the evaluation process, and the rest will be declared as not eligible. So make sure that the latest one is the one that you want to submit. And what happens if this latest proposal does not reach the threshold or is declared not eligible for the revision? So the proposal submitted earlier won't be considered for evaluation in any case. So again, make sure that the latest one is the one you want to submit. Please be original work. Do not copy paste. Some of you might have already participated in some other incubation projects, etc. Do original work. We encourage you to use datasets in our catalog and challenges, and clearly, when applicable, justify the selected challenge or theme. We won't be able to fund proposals which have been also funded by our sibling project, which is I4Trust. It's required. We are here in a data-driven project, so the use of big data tools will be required, and very important, to fill in the application format F6S by defined deadline, which is again 15 February midday, not noon. Once all we have received all the evaluations, all the proposals, we will start with the evaluation process and the results communication afterwards. So the first thing only the proposals who are declared as eligible will enter the evaluation, okay? So the first thing we do when we receive the proposals, we will be to check the eligibility of all of them. Then traction indicators control will be done based on, so in this control will be done based on your answer in the application form. We will automatically sort the proposals following some internal red flags. Important, these are not public at this stage, these red flags. They will be made public after the third call. And for you to know, these internal red flags are defined according to your profile. We will be differentiating, early stage entities and those which are with less than 3 years, with less than 3 years, and those established which are those with more than 3 years, which are all more than 3 years old. Once we have selected proposals which are eligible, which have passed the traction control, we will start with the remote evaluation. For this, we will count with external evaluators, which have been hired specifically for this evaluation, and they are experts in big data, but we will be also having experts in business to evaluate the different sections of the proposals. So what's going to be evaluated? Here we have it in this picture. We will be evaluating on the one hand the technical approach, then the business potential, also the team composition, and finally, when applicable, the proposal, the challenge fit within the different tracks. It's at least it will be necessary to have 3 points in each criterion and minimum of 12 points to be included in the ranking list. We will be funding a maximum of 40 proposals and a maximum of 40 proposals will be shortlisted in this first phase, and around 30 invited to sign the contract, the subgrantee agreement. They will be, and these entities will be the ones accessing to explore phase in the incubator. We will be having a reserve list just in case some of the proposals which are invited to join the program do not fulfill to complete to sign the subgrantee agreement due to different problems that may arise during the negotiation. In any case, every participant will be getting a communication of the result summary and SER with an invitation either to join or to that we cannot admit you to go through the evaluation and the incubation. So for these communication purposes, it's very important that you duly complete the contact information in the application form and under the administrative staff section, because this email is the one that is going to be used for communication purposes. And finally, the timeline. So the call is going to be finishing or close, on the 15th February. Then we will start with evaluation. You will be communicating the results hopefully beginning of March. Then we will start with the preparation and signature of the subgrantee agreement with the intention of having them ready by the beginning of April or mid-April the latest. And this is all from my side. Please remember that we are talking about the 15th February, 12 noon, not midday as deadline, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Luz. So reminder for everyone, please post your questions in the chat. We'll be answering them in the Q&A afterwards. Now I will invite Danielle from Idea 75 to go over their specific challenge, introduce yourselves to their company and would be like working with them if you're selected in the incubation phase?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Daniele Panarese. I'm project manager at Idea 75. My company is a small Italian company active in the field of Industry 4.0, providing solutions to our customers, mainly for energy efficiency and process optimization. In the framework of the REACH project, we are a data provider in the application scenario, manufacturing and industry. What we can offer to the applicants to the REACH open call are data coming from several plants in the floor milling sector. The data set is made of typical data coming from electrical motors and servo drives in service that keep different machines that characterize a floor milling plant. It has the plant sector, belt conveyor, asker, the branding machines, etc. One picture you can see aside. The data volume consists of signaling coming from over 3,000 equipment and devices continuously monitored 24/7 by our IoT devices. The dataset consists of data variety given from electrical signals like active energy, active power, current, and voltages that are read from the equipment in service. In this slide, you can see a dataset example provided in the form of CSV file, mainly made of 4 different columns. In the first column, we have the ID of the device that should be anonymized. It contains the location, the plant location, and the name of the device. In the second column, we can provide the parameter recorded. In the third column, the timestamp. In the fourth column, the value of the monitored parameter. The sampling time is 1 minute for each signal. The REACH challenges that we address are mainly team-driven, led by CR in the following sectors. The first one is continuous improvement of product design based on consumer data, whose main expected outcomes are to increase the competitiveness of hardware designers and manufacturers. The second theme is database optimization of manufacturing processes. The main expected outcome is decrease of cost of hardware manufacturing process. The third theme is privacy-aware provision of end-user feedback on product usage. Main outcome is to reduce the power consumption of products such as electronic systems and devices. Obviously, you can find a more deeper explanation of these themes and objectives and expected outcomes in the REACH catalog that is published on our website. In addition, we provide for these team-driven challenges, we as Idea 75 are a data provider of electrical data that could be joined with open source data source for realizing the cross value chain challenge. In the ready-made proposal and changes, we have the first one, data-driven technology for efficiency in energy-intensive industries, whose main outcome is to create an innovative decision support system for continuous energy efficiency system based on real-time analytics. And for the process optimization, we have one challenge for the predictive maintenance and production optimization. For monitoring and maintenance for machinery, we expect to reduce strongly the unplanned stops up to 80% of the predictive maintenance applications. And for the product optimization, we expect to reduce the production loss by 20% according to the zero defect paradigm. What we can provide as support to partners that made application to REACH. In the explore stage, we can provide a deepening of the dataset. We can help in defining the activities to perform the experiment. In the experiment stage, we can support to the development and concept and design of the minimum viable product realization, and we can support for initial market analysis. In the evolve stage, we can help consolidate the market analysis from the end user perspective. And the expose stage, we can provide consultancy services in professional activities, mainly in dedicated trade sectors that characterize our sector of intervention and reach. So, generally speaking, reach expectation for our main objectives of energy efficiency process optimization are having access to new resources that are the applicants in connection with the main player of the sectors, that is our customers and partners in the floor milling plant. We hope to see open innovation opportunities on challenges and topics that allow a global company grow for both the applicants and data provider, the manufacturing plant. And we expect testing new technologies and application and discover new value from data we are sharing. The last slide is a recap of the REACH consortium partners that are involved in this project. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm inviting Joyce from VRT to provide an overview of their organization and their challenge as well.
Oh. Yeah, I tried to find the share button.
I have a backup PPT.
Yeah, where is the share button?
So it's on the bottom of the screen next to the chat option. There's supposed to be a share screen option.
Ah, yeah. Okay, thank you. Good. Yep. Hello.
We can see it.
Okay. So we are VRT, which is the Flemish public television and radio broadcaster. Why? And we have a weekly reach of almost 6 million viewers and listeners and online audience. That is about 90% of the population in Flanders. And we mainly work through 2 TV channels, 5 radio stations, and then we have several websites too. Most important websites are news articles and the video on demand website. And Jasper and me, Jasper is also in the call. He also helped writing the challenges. We work for the innovation department. And the goal of this department is to test and bring new technology to the work floor. This department is mainly funded externally through Horizon 2020 projects, through Google DNI. Also, the Flemish government funds several projects we do. And for these challenges in a REACH, we offer a collection of audio and or video tracks that have no transcriptions yet. And we also offer our collection of news articles. So that's text data. So this is a picture of our archive. This is the analogous archive. So it's just for showing something, but actually we will offer digital data, obviously. The first challenge will be on the news articles. I think this is about 100,000 articles now published over the last 10 years. And one of the important things in VRT is that we want to bring our content to everybody, including the disabled people or illiterate people. And written text cannot be consumed by people with, for example, sight impairment or illiterate people. So what we could do is try and make this text available through a text-to-speech system. The problem is, okay, text-to-speech exists for Dutch, standard Dutch, but in Flanders we have a slightly different accent. And we want to have a text-to-speech system that brings our typical accents to the foreground. The second challenge is on the news articles. And some of them are hard to search. Well, it's such a big collection, and there is so much information. Actually, is the recent history of Belgium is in there. Some of these articles are very long, and it would be very handy if a summarizer makes summarizations of these texts, so that whoever is willing to find more context, more information on a topic can find this much quicker. We have some experience in EDI, which is a predecessor of REACH, if I understand things right. We had very good experiences. You can see the laughing faces and all the graphs. So it's a typical environment of a happy collaboration on data. We submitted 4 challenges. One was auto tagging of news articles. That went very well. We also asked to generate synthetic clickstream data. So we have a lot of clickstream data, but due to privacy issues, we cannot always share them with everybody. But if you can make a synthetic data set of this clickstream data, you can share them with everybody. And like for new challenges, this is very handy. Then currently running is an auto chaptering of TV shows challenge, and gender recognition of faces in images. The outcomes of all of these challenges were, in general, they were very good. I was thrilled to work with these enthusiastic people. I learned a lot of them. They learned some things of us. Some of the solutions were very good. For example, the auto tagging of news articles went very, very well. Some solutions were, well, still needed some fine tuning, but that's because the challenge is sometimes more difficult. It's a learning trajectory. We all had a benefit of it, even though the solution was not perfect. And then there were some difficulties, mainly on our side, I have to admit, because it's difficult. We have this perfect auto tagger for news articles, but then it becomes difficult to really incorporate it in our company, because there are so many other departments, and I mean, it's semi-government, and this makes things a bit slow. And then with the last challenges, we had some legal issues. So our legal department was opposing for a while for us to share data, and they wanted new data agreements with the startup. So that slowed down things a lot. Yeah. We have some suggestions for people that want to participate. We don't want vague plans. We want you to show that you know your technology. On one of the challenges, we really had to refuse one of the candidates because of this. And perhaps they were good enough, but we can't tell because the plans were too, they couldn't show us our knowledge. If you can add example of previous similar tasks that you did, because that's really the way to show we know what we are doing. We already did something similar. And then in our opinion, we are not so much interested on dashboards for your solution or whatever GUI you can invent. That's not the creative part. That's not the technological part. I know some GUI can be important, some interface, but it's not our interest. So do not spend too much time on it. And then lastly, be passionate about what you're doing. So thank you, and please apply for our challenges.
Thank you, Joris. So if you want to get in touch with our data providers, you can do so, but please send us an email to the open call email, which will be provided a little later. All right, so I want to ask you an unexpected question, and that is, please turn on your camera so we can take a screenshot of everyone present for our reporting. So this is a common thing European projects has, and we cannot meet in the webinars in place. Take a group photo. We usually do this by having a screenshot. So one of our partners will take 8 screenshots now, since we have 8 pages. So give it a long smile. Hopefully we're interested and make you happy, and about reach as well. So give it a few seconds, and Charlotte, please let us know when.
Say cheese.
Yeah, say a long cheese. Give it a little longer.
I'm on it, sorry, but there are like so many people, so it takes a while.
Good. This means the reach is interesting, and a lot of people are interested. So as previously said, this is being recorded, and we'll provide you with a YouTube link afterwards, maybe tomorrow or today, when we get it uploaded. So you can access it as well.
Okay, last one to go. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Awesome. So let's jump into the Q&A. Good thing we were very efficient today, so we can provide more time to the Q&A. So Charlotte, please share the screen of the Q&A so we can have it nicely on there. And I will be reading the questions out loud. So if you have any questions, like I said before, please post it in the chat. Our partners will do our maximum to answer all of them. Some of them perhaps have been answered before during our meeting today. Some of them aren't. So let's just jump into it and try to cover it as much as we can. If there's something not covered, we'll provide you with an email, and please send it to our email, and we'll make sure to answer it over there. So to start off, we have a first question from Mitya Kowalski from Intelsoft. So a question regarding a specific challenge, that a sub-challenge that seems to be a logical complement to each other from fraud detection in healthcare. As those will be developed separately, could you please provide more details on key differences between them in terms of a final solution implementation? So this is quite specific for the sub-challenge, and I'll let our partners answer.
Yes, so I'm going to take this first question. So yes, indeed, the sub-challenges are meant to be complementary. So in this particular case, they make a part of a theme. The idea is that we implement one solution that covers these challenges. So it's not necessary that they have to be developed separately. The idea is that we have one solution that fulfills the need of these stakeholders. So this is really the idea. The idea is not to continue developing solutions for separate stakeholders across the value chains, but to develop solutions that allows us to break the silos across this value chain.
All right. You will see definitely that various challenges have sub-challenges. So it is up to you to decide on which ones you're tackling. Am I right, Juan?
Yes.
All right. Moving on. If we bring our own data provider from Amigda, from Faizan, So if we bring our own data provider, does the data need to be shared with anyone else?
I will take care of this one. No, you don't need to share data with anyone else. The data providers you are bringing will be only sharing the data with you.
Right. So may I just expand on this and ask a question? So after the project, for example, after reach ends, what happens with the data and well, basically the IP agreement between the solution and the data that is being shared?
This is something that will need to be discussed and agreed between the company and the data provider. This is not something we are defining in the project.
Yes. So it is up to you to discuss it with your data provider.
Yeah.
And no one makes you share your data if you don't want.
Yes, one thing that it's worth remarking is that we at the Rich Incubator consortium, we don't have access to the full data of data providers. We have only access to samples that we publish in our catalog. But it is the couple of the solution developer with the data provider who are going to discuss to have access to the entire data set so they can develop their solutions. And of course, this is up to you in your bilateral relation to sort out the arrangements of if the data can be accessible after the experiment is finished.
Great, thanks. Francesco from Brain asks, what does it mean in track 2 to have 20% of the selected proposals to be cross-sector?
Luz again. Well, what we are talking about in track 2 is that you are going to be using, you encourage you to use data sets from different sectors or fields to create cross-sector data value chains. And for that, you can use data from the rich data catalog together with other data sets that from other sectors. For example, they can be available because they are open data. And what we want to in this track is that at least 20% of the proposals that we are going to fund in this category, in this track, are this kind under this kind of participation mode, that they are not only using data from the rich data catalog, but they are also combining this data or enriching these data sets with some other from open source, open data or wherever.
Yes, we really want to stimulate data value chains across sectors. So one example is the one that I gave at the beginning of my presentation when I talked about the electronic systems industry. And I mentioned that the end user's data could come from the automobile sector. So you see two sectors there, automobile and electronic systems. This kind of collaboration, this is the kind of experiments that we want to see.
Thanks. So the next question is kind of similar, but can we use all open source data or our own original topic?
So yes, open data is encouraged. Yes, Luz, please.
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't know what track are you referring to, but in any case, you cannot only apply with data, open source data or your own data. You will always need to combine this data with some other from the rich data catalog or from your own data provider you are bringing, depending on the track. But only use your data or open source data, it's not feasible.
All right, next question. From Mark Weimel from Hortia. Question on track 3. How should we deal with marketing plan and business case for innovation that only gets enabled by the new data value chain that gets created within this program?
Okay, to be honest, I don't really understand the question. Basically, when we are asking you the marketing plan and the business case in the submission form is the idea of the commission to finance this kind of experiments is that they can turn into business ideas. So you have to present really the value proposition, how we are creating value by sharing data. This is really the first question that you must answer in these fields in the proposal document.
Yeah, and also if you are already a consolidated company, probably you will be having a marketing plan and developed business cases, and you will have experience. We want to know a little bit more about you and your opportunities to grow. So this is all the information we are requesting about the solution you're going to develop, but also about your previous experience and the way in which you in which you create value and offer the solutions to the market.
Absolutely.
Okay, question from Nikos and when does the MOU between CA and the data provider must be signed before the proposal submission?
It's not going to be signed before the proposal submission, this memorandum of understanding. We are not asking because we think it's not worth doing it. Only the proposals which are going to be proposed for and which are bringing on data providers will be requested for this kind of memorandum of understanding.
And this is done after the proposal gets accepted.
Yeah. And here, as you have here, before the 1st of April, we would like to, because that's the deadline when supposedly we are going to start with the next stage of incubation. Well, the first one.
Yes.
Thanks. Question from Yanis. Hi, everyone. Is e-learning new applications or new courses eligible for the program?
Okay, so e-learning new applications. So if I understand, if you are going to propose an experiment in the e-learning sector, yes, all sectors are welcome in the Rich Incubator.
Thanks. Next question from Nikos. Under which form a consortium for a collaborative SME experiment is eligible?
We are not, we are talking about collaborative experiments, but not in the sense of having a proposal which is submitted by two companies together at the same stage. This collaboration or a collaborative experiment is going to be built through the construction of data value chains within the different themes or challenges or sub-challenges within each of the tracks.
Yes, and if you are several SMEs that would like to perform a collaborative SME experiment, it means that each one of you should submit, prepare a different submission, each one on your own. And it is very important that in the submission text, you specify that you intend to collaborate with this other submission. So yes, like it is mentioned here in the comment that is being copied, the consortium will aim at 20% of experiments progressing on this collaborative scheme. It means that if you submit this kind of collaborative SME experiment, this gives you more points. This gives you more chances to be accepted into the program.
So we're having two questions by Nikos that seem to be answering themselves. So does an informal group of people can apply and establish a startup as soon as the proposal would be submitted? So I think we answered the applicants need to be a registered company as the text below is.
Yes.
A submission system, is it possible to provide links where the documents are uploaded? So no, the application form enables the applicant only to upload the documents. So please do so and follow the guidelines for applicants as stated in the document. So moving on, Tiago Diaz, can you put here the links for the proposal submission? I think we did that, sorry. A little below. Sparkle CS, can an application be focused on a circular outputs of a data set? Can the insights identified with a data set within a data set then be acted upon the outcomes attributions tracked and presented as a part of a proposal.
Okay, so a bit of a very technical question here. I would like to invite Sparkle CS to please submit the question to the open call mailbox that we have, so we can look at it internally. And if you can provide a little bit more of context of what particular experiment you are talking about. Thanks.
From Mantodea, is a sole proprietorship business eligible for applying?
I'm not sure to understand, Alec.
Single person company, I think.
Yes.
You would be eligible, but you won't have the. I think you won't have the opportunity to show all the experience and all the technical and business experience we will be asking for in the team that we are expecting to participate in this kind of projects. So it is not an issue of being a company composed only by one person, but the thing that you don't have a team behind to develop the solution, reach the market, and so on.
Yes, just to give a little bit of feedback experience.
Did Juan break?
Sorry.
So.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So yes, Rich has a predecessor project which is called EDI, and in this project, the kind of teams that participated in the incubation process were startups that were represented in the program by teams of 2 or 3 people. So this gives you an indication of the kind of teams that usually get selected in these programs.
All right, moving on from Sparkle CS. Does a data set have to come from within the EU?
Okay, so I let Luz correct me. It is possible to have data coming from outside the EU. Already we have 2 data providers which come from Turkey. So these are H2020 associated countries. So there is no problem. However, we're going to ask you when you submit your application to become a data provider, and in the memorandum of understanding that you are going to sign with CA, that you have to prove that there is full compliance with the regulations and the laws of protection of personal data in the country of origin of this data, and also to certify that you actually own the data.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you. Ricardo from Black Gull. Is a startup incorporated in the UK eligible to participate?
Yeah.
Yes.
UK is eligible.
Yes.
Okay. From Nikos, what is the exact legal meaning of a startup? Is it anything different to an SME?
Well, the thing that we talk about the startups because we want to refer to young companies, those funded, recently funded, and which are less mature, let's say. But from our perspective, as long as they are legally registered and everything is legal and within Europe, they are considered in the same way. So there will be some evaluation criteria different because the experience they might have and the maturity level is lower than the ones consolidated companies might have. But for the point of view of an applicant, everything is the same.
Okay, thanks. From Christoph and from Hortia. In the company financial Excel, it is also asked for a forecast for next 3 years. It was just stated just now that we should strictly adhere to this Excel. Do we have to add to the Excel how we plan on achieving these numbers? If we cannot do this in Excel, where should we do this?
This Excel file must be completed only with the data we are requesting in the Excel. If you want to provide some further information about the business, the market, the figures you're providing, you will have a section in the section about the business where you could present, but briefly, your figures. But we are not going to read any extra information from the Excel file.
Question from Tiago Diaz. Will there be another call this year? So there will be another call at the end of the year at the same time, in the same period of the year as this one started. So expect it to start in November, December. And
Yeah, the dates might change slightly. So please, I encourage everyone to register to the Reach newsletter. And so you are make sure that you receive the news about the end of the year. What are the effective dates?
Thank you, Juan. So slightly adjusting my idea. All right, next question from Gitan Bane from SecureX. Company financials forecasts are for the company and what it currently does, or is it a forecast for the commercialization of a product issued from a project we should apply for? Same question about marketing business cases related to the current activities or to the innovation that will come out of the program.
Regarding the company financials, we are asking about everything. So your current situation and also the financials you estimate with the growing you expect from all the projects on all the different activities, and of course, which project is one of them. For the marketing and business cases, I guess they won't be much different from the activities you have at this stage. So more or less, when you describe your marketing and business cases, could be very similar. But if not, we would also like to learn a little bit more about what you expect from the rich participation. Not talking about general issues from the company.
Thank you. Next question from Dani. Regarding ready-made challenges, is there a way to contact the data provider to clarify an example data they published? The specific question is an example data is incomplete with empty examples, challenges, catalog deduplication from Sunai.
I would suggest, Danny, to send specific questions to our mailbox, Rich mailbox, and we will be in contact with Sonae in this case to try to complete this information if possible. Or all the contacts with data providers need to be done through our mailbox, the project mailbox. This is the official channel for communication purposes.
Thank you for this. So the email mentioned right now, I have just copy pasted into the chat for everyone to see. Okay, moving on. From 1 watt for idea 75 predictive maintenance challenge. Are there any specific issues that cause unplanned stops that you want to particularly be on the lookout for in this project?
Well, basically, as the floor milling sector is a very traditional sector, we observe that there is a lack of the basic maintenance, preventive maintenance actions from the operators. So mainly the counted stops are related to lack of lubrications, lack of oil changes or replacing of filters, something like that.
Thank you for this. Mitya Kowalski from Intelsoft. Could you please specify if only the team members listed in the application can further attend the offline events, Datathon, and so forth?
No, once we have signed the sub-grantee agreement with the legally representative from the different entities, and you are invited to the datathon, you will be allowed to choose the people, in this case probably two, that would be present in that dataton. But
Yes, there is no restriction. Yeah.
there's no restriction, but most probably the people you are presenting are the core people you want to be part in the project. So probably it makes sense that they are the ones that would be involved, some of them.
Mhm.
Okay,
And also maybe we have to clarify that the situation, unfortunately, does not allow us to start the first events that were planned offline as the dataton. We'll have to do it online. So yeah, there is no restriction about the people that can attend from each particular company.
Okay, from Tomasz, we have answered this, but if you will have any questions particular to a specific challenge or data set, please refer them to our open call email. Not from VeroSense, for a question for idea 75. In addition to energy consumption data at machine, will we have access to other relevant production and management data?
Well, basically, we can enlarge the provided dataset with signals from PLC, like start-stop functioning of the device or machine.
Okay, Bandora Marcia, a theme, building occupancy and comfort inference. We have a mobile app to get comfort feedback from occupants. Is this considered disturbing occupants?
Interesting application. So yes, please feel free to submit to explain your idea. Well, if you are, yeah, I think there are several data sources that can be used in this kind of application. So coming from neighbors, and there's a lot of privacy concerns as well. So it's an interesting experiment. So please feel free to apply, and we can look at it.
Thanks, Juan. Question from Dinesh Viva Drive. Question on track 3. Can there be more than one or more than two data providers, and what would be the procedure for onboarding of multiple data providers?
Okay, so well, yes, of course, it's possible to have more than one data provider, and the procedure would be the same as for one. You will need to complete a form for each of the data providers you are bringing to the project. Then they will need to sign the memorandum of understanding, and then if you are invited to join the incubation program, the data providers, the ones you are bringing, will also have to sign the sub-grantee agreement, which will be signed between the CEA, you, and all the data providers you are bringing. Important to complete one form for each of the data providers you are bringing.
Yes.
Thanks. Question from Michaela Arakne. We have participated in EDI second call, and our company has been financed for the second stage of incubation, the experiment. Is it possible to participate in Reach Incubator?
Absolutely. Yes.
Question from Thomas. Ms. Lewis mentioned SMEs will be divided to those younger than 3 years and those older than 3 years. Why? What does it mean, and what will be the impact on SME?
This is because it won't be fair to use the same red flags to evaluate all the companies, because not all of them have the same maturity level. So this is for you, because it's better for younger companies not to be required as much or as high red flags, internal red flags. We will be evaluating as for consolidated companies. This is the only purpose, to make a fair evaluation, because the level of information of the capacity you might have might be lower than one higher or more consolidated company might have.
Thanks. Question from Christoph from Quartia. If we want to use our company's own data for the experiment, do we need to fill out a data provider form for our own company?
I think we already answered this. It's not possible to participate only with your own data. So your own data is not the data from a data provider.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we can, of course, you can propose an experiment using the data of your own company, but you also have to bring data from outside the company to show the data value chain aspects.
Or use data sets from
From
the
a catalog,
catalog,
yeah.
depending on the track you are applying to.
Right, right.
So expanding that question from Nikos, in case of an open data, do we need an MOU?
No, it does not make sense.
It's not necessary because normally open data sets, they already have their own agreements. And basically, if we use them, we are already agreeing to these terms. So no, it is not necessary.
Okay. Question from Josh Uworks. In track 3, how much will the data provider need to be involved within the application process? Don't want to waste too much time.
Well, we don't know how to quantify, but you will need to devote some time with them to define to learn what they need, and to learn the data, to define, sorry, data value chain, the challenge experiment you want to propose. I don't know, depending on the relationship you have with them and the knowledge you have about the data provider, you might be able to do it on your own and then just check with them, or you will need to require further involvement from their side. It's something you will need to see at the application process, I mean.
Yeah, in the application process, basically, what you as a solution provider, you will basically have questions for the data provider, just like the questions that we are seeing that were asked to Daniele from Idea 75. Particular questions about the data structure, about the interest of some particular solution. These are basically questions. This is the interaction that you would need with the data provider. It's not going to take a very long time, but like Luz said, it depends on your level of autonomy as well.
And one important thing to hear is that even if, imagine, they don't you don't finally need to involve them much at the application stage, it's very important they are aware that they will need to then sign some documents and participate in some events. So afterwards, when they are, if you are selected and you are in the incubation, they will need to devote some time, not much, but minimum would be required from their side to help you in the development of the solution, as well as then to participate in the evaluation when we have the events for evaluation and the hackathons and so on.
Yeah.
Thank you. For 2 questions from Explorion, but let's start with one. What is the difference between track 1 and track 2? Is it about the use of the data set? For example, in track 1, combination of that data sets, or in track 2, data sets offered by rich providers?
Okay, so let's recall what track 1 and track 2 are. So track 1 is the theme-driven mode of participation. So basically you have 6 themes. Each one of 6 of these themes is composed of a big macro challenge, which is decomposed in several sub-challenges, as it was already asked in one of the first questions. And in track 2, we are talking about individual challenges of data providers, if I am not mistaken, Luz. This is the main difference.
Also, I think I want to add, so track 1, theme-driven, the challenges are provided by the digital innovation hubs and are supported by some themes, the latest technologies and the latest challenges in the industries of Europe, if I'm...
Yes.
Yeah.
In these theme descriptions, we are already proposing or suggesting that we use some of the data sets from our catalog, but also some data sets coming from open data. So please check the theme descriptions in our website.
Yeah.
Second question from Explorion, regarding the implementation working theme, do they have to be listed as employees and be included in the headcount, or can they be collaborators as well with project lease agreement?
It's not defined in the guidelines. We would like to have them as people in your headcount, in the company headcount. If they are not, then you will need to make yourself, well, you need to guarantee that they are going to be involved and yeah, commit to the project in case you are progressing. We are just asking you to define the team that you are presenting to solve the challenge or and participate in the experiment. You are not going to be paid according to the presentation of some invoices and payments. You are going to be paid according to the fulfillment of KPIs that will be defined along the incubation. So we are not going to check that.
Thanks, Luz. I want to add, so it is important. Why is it important as a team member? Because simply that is the way we can qualify whether you have the capacity to do something. If you're hiring someone else to join the company, that puts the question whether you are qualified as a company to complete the experiment you're providing. Okay, we have two more questions, and again, I've asked everyone to post questions if they have. We have, could the data provider be our customer with their specific private data set?
Yeah, you can bring the data provider you want to, and usually they are people with which you are usually work with, so customers or people with you have a relationship with.
Absolutely. It is very interesting. If you already have the value chain, yes, absolutely.
Okay, from Carola, the question is, in the case of track 2 ready-made, the ownership of the solution remains to us.
Well, this is a tricky question. Everything regarding the ownership, what you developed will belong to you, but data will always belong to the data provider. So in the end, you will probably need to come to an agreement with the data provider or the people which are the owner of the data to come to a commercial solution.
Yes, in our experience, the solution provider only needs the data from data providers only at the development stage of their solution. After that, when the solution, of course, it is developed and it is ready for market launch, of course, the solution it has been developed by you and the integral intellectual property belongs to you. So Reach is an equity-free incubator. We are not asking for anything in return.
Thank you. Question from Juan from Open Systems. Concerning the track 2 challenge driven, is it mandatory or encouraged to enrich the data sets already provided with open data?
It's not mandatory, but you are encouraged.
Yes, again, the most important aspect that you need to show is the data value chain aspects, the sharing of data across sectors of across actors of a value chain.
Okay, Francesco from Brain. Regarding the team members included, regarding the team members included in the headcount of the company, can this be done at the later stage for some of them if the company gets the funding?
This is what we said before. You are not going to be requested that information, so it's up to you how to do it or when to do it, as long as you have the commitment from these people to participate. I mean, if you are selected and then they don't have any legal binding with the company, they might not be involved, and you might have trouble to keep on working. But this is not something that we're going to check.
A question from Tomasz from Find Air. Will the data provided in the project become public afterwards?
We are only making public sample data. Those data sets are available in our rich catalog, and you need to register to have access to them. And the rest of the data sets won't be public.
Yes, only samples are public.
A question from Tomasz Erokon. It was told there established DIH, which will help SMEs incubation, and also mentioned tools that will be available? Is there a list of DIH and tools which will be available to SMEs entering the process?
Yes, yes. We have 3 digital innovation hubs that already belong to the REACH consortium. There is one from Spain, another one in France, so the one represented by CEA and Systematic, and another one in Greece. And all of these DIH, they are all providing infrastructure and tools. Unfortunately, we don't have the time today to go through this. There are some elements already in our website, so please go to our website and consult this. We discuss, we give a preview of the kind of tools that we are going to provide you, and DIH make part of the REACH Incubator. And for the next open call rounds, we are hoping to bring more digital innovation hubs so we can enlarge our offer.
Thanks, Juan. So final question before we adjourn from Dinesh Viva Drive regarding the evaluation process. Is the evaluation focuses on the technical or the business point of the project?
Hi, Ruth again. Well, it was presented in what's described in presentation, and also it's available in the guidelines. You are going to be evaluated both technical, business, and also the team capacity. So you will need to get a score minimum of 3 on each of the sections, and the threshold is 12 out of 15, the same as in Horizon 2020 call for proposals. But everything regarding what's required and the evaluation and what you need to comply with is in the guidelines. So again, I know I'm insisting on this, but it's very important to read all the documentation in the call.
Thank you, Luz. So before we adjourn, I would like to say a few things. I encourage everyone to sign up to our newsletter that we have on the website. So just scroll down on the bottom of any page and you will see it. Also follow us on all social media. We're pretty up to date, and we'll inform you of any changes or furthermore, or finally, I would like to provide a link to the article that we have released the other day to help you with the application, so you can find it on the website, and the link is in the chat as well. So yeah, just skim through it. It reminds you of a couple of things, gives you the relevant links as well, and gives you some tips and tricks on how to create a successful application. If you have any questions, like we said before, please refer them to the open call at reach is this dash or slash? Sorry. The email is in the chat, basically, or on the screen. So please email it to the open call email. We can connect you with the data providers if you need it, and provide you any specific answers that you might have. So again, thanks everyone. Thanks for our partners who have joined and provided you with all the information. The link to this recording will be provided to you as well. So thanks everyone, and looking forward to seeing your applications soon.
Yes, thank you, Alec, and thanks a lot, everyone. Again, it is very stimulating, very exciting to see all this interest in REACH. It's beyond our expectations, and we are just waiting for your applications. And thanks again to Luz and Joris and Daniele for your presentations. And hopefully see you very soon. Have a nice afternoon, everyone.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for the info. Bye-bye.